Okay, we've got a huge problem. Everybody panic. This is serious stuff. This is a dress that I love and instantly want in my wardrobe. It's made by Lazy Oaf. It's £125, and according to Good On You, who rate weather companies mean us ill, Lazy Oaf doesn't have a very good rating. It's got a 2 out of 5 for planet, 2 out of 5 for people, and it does have 5 out of 5 for animals because it is vegan. But also, I just don't want to give money to people who don't disclose their supply chain, especially that much money, because it looks like it's not actually going in the pockets of the people making the clothes. Do you see what I mean? And as somebody who makes their own clothes, I understand how long it takes and how much thought and effort goes into making every single garment. Every garment that we buy on the high street is handmade, and I've decided that today it's gonna be these two hands. If anyone is gonna get exploited in the process of me getting to this dress, it's gonna be me. So, with my overinflated sense of abilities, shall we raid my fabric stash? Okie dokie. So we didn't have any butter yellow, but that's actually not really a problem because I don't really like the yellow part of this dress. I personally would much prefer, oh, I don't know, a bright pink. For the black fabric, I didn't have loads of just plain black fabric, but those of you who've been around for a while will know that this is one of the first skirts I ever made. It's literally just 2 rectangles sewn together, and it's very crude, but I do wear it all the time. And it's made out of an old tablecloth I got secondhand. And I did realise that I did have a little bit extra of this fabric. Not enough to make a dress, but certainly enough to make a top. So I'm thinking we make a 2-piece set, like top, and then I'll wear it with the skirt. This will be the flower element around my neck. And then I have this kind of end of the roll dead stock 1/2 meter of ICAT Japanese printed fabric that I've just always had. And again, like, there's not enough of it to make a whole dress or anything, but wouldn't this look cool as the stem? Just like a little bit of the stem and the leaves. These are the colors. This is the vision. I have no idea how I'm gonna make the collar. I do have a basic top pattern, so I'm gonna start with that. And I think we're just gonna put our faith in my stubbornness, if I'm honest. It's actually always worked out before, weirdly, so let's go. Oh, I forgot the fabric. I'll need that. Hello, so you join me at a crossroads. As you can see, it's 2 sides of the top, and I've joined them in the middle. I agree that it kind of looks like a rainbow tabard right now, but that's the vision. But before I do up the sides, I thought it would be sensible to do all the applique. I think that's the correct term. The kind of like shapes that are going to go on the top before I seal it, because arguably it's going to be easier to sew a flat object than it is to sew a round object. Are you with me so far? Now, the thought process that I'm about to go through is, how do I make sure that I'm getting the petals and the sizing right and make sure that it all kind of lays nicely on my shoulders? Now, I think what I am going to do, for 2 reasons, is make the collar detachable. I think, one, because it's going to be easier. Like, if the necklines don't perfectly line up, you're not going to be able to see it, because I could just tie the collar a little bit tighter. And also because I had this idea where I was like, wow, the Lazy Oaf dress is cool because you look like a yellow flower, right? And I was thinking, this is going to be cool because I'm going to look like a pink flower. But what if I could make multiple collars with like different flowers on? So like one day I could be a daffodil and the next day I could be a poppy. Like imagine. So now I'm saying that out loud. I think that definitely has to happen. I've made the decision. We're doing detachable collars, but I need to cut out the petals for this collar in a way that will make sense. And I don't have very much pink fabric, so we're really trusting our guts here. Do I have pattern making paper? No, I don't. But I do have non-stick baking sheets. If I stick this underneath the neckline, I think all I need to do is draw round that, although this is a little bit curvier. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have attached these two, but here we are. This neckline is a little bit 3D because it should be, because it's going to go on a 3D body. That's why when I sewed these together, it's a little bit 3D, but that's I think we can work with that. What I do need to work out is how big these petals need to be. I thought, looking at this inspo image, that there were 4 petals maybe. I thought that there was 2 petals on either shoulder and then 1 around the middle and then 1 at the back. Of course, Lazy Oaf and none of the other people that stock this dress showed the back of the dress, because who, when they're spending £125, want to know what the back of the dress looks like? But this queen on Instagram, I found, had shown the back of the dress, and thank you to her, because now I know there are 5 petals. I think what we're looking at, if we want to replicate this, which I do because it looks gorgeous, 2 petals here that overlap the shoulder but more lean towards the front, so like here, 1 big petal there, and then 2 in the back here. So 5 petals in total. How big are the petals going to be? Well, I bought my shape menu from the kitchen, which is just like a biscuit tin lid, a peanut butter jar lid, and my detergent lid. So let's see, let's come closer. I think this one is going to be too small. I would do a necklace of petals for this one, but it's not going to just do 5. They're just going to be floating in midair. That could work because we want it to be really outlandish, but would that crowd it? I'm not sure. But if they were a bit further away from the collar, maybe that is what, yeah, maybe it's that. Or this. 1, 2, 3. I think we need the big one, you know. Let's go with the big one. So on this baking tray paper, let's trace the back of the neckline like so. Let's flatten it this way and do our best to trace the front of the neckline. Okay. Okay, roughly that's what we're looking at. Can you tell I've never made a collar before? I think it's going to be fine. Okay, this is kind of what we're looking at. Oh, my baking sheets aren't big enough. That's a problem. Okay, let's trace it again. If I did it diagonally, would that be big enough then? Let's find out. God, I'm bad at this. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make my petal shapes and then I'm going to stick them to the collar, because then I'll be able to arrange them properly as well. And also because my baking tray paper is too small. And then we're going to make a little skeleton pattern out of that, but I'm not going to make you sit through that, so this is probably going to take me a while, but it's going to seem like it's going to take me a few seconds. Okay, well, it's not finished, but I did realise that actually these petals that I'm making do fit just about on this piece of paper. So I've drawn around these ones here so they fit, and I've sellotaped these ones down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around these and then hopefully be able to cut out the middle. And then we've got a plan. It fits. I literally just sat here for 10 minutes being like, this isn't gonna work. And somehow I just configured it and it fits and they all join, because that was what was annoying, is that I kept trying to make them look like petals, but they weren't joining together, but I think I've done it. I got a girl who's all so good. What do we think? Obviously I've got a round neck on now, but the neckline will match in theory. I think that's cool. It doesn't go, I didn't want it to go further than my shoulders, and I also didn't want it to feel like a bib, and I think we've achieved that. The official template, I'm now going to cut this out in the pink fabric, and then I've got some backing pink fabric, because I'm not sure at this point how much the backside is going to show, so I don't want to do it in a colour that doesn't match. So I've got 2 pink fabrics that I'm going to use, 1 thick and 1 thin, and I'm hoping that's going to give it enough body. I might use some interfacing, which is like basically like stiff fabric that you can iron on to the inside of a garment to make it stiffer, so I might use that. I'm going to see how I feel as I go. But yeah, the next stage is to cut out this collar and make it a reality. All other guys just stand and stare. We got everything. I ain't got a dime and she don't care. I got everything. I love you, money, cause I got everything that I could want. What I got, everything. I got a girl who's all so good. Okay, you would be correct in thinking it looks like the sun's going down. But you would also be correct in thinking, Lena's like basically done. Lena could totally carry on until the evening and keep working, right? Tempting. Anyway, here's the collar. Here's what it looks like at the back. It's got these big dangly bits, which I could make shorter, but is it chic? Is it actually saying high fashion horsey tail? You know? Like kind of swings when I walk. I only had black thread, I realised, but I actually think that lining the collar with black thread kind of makes it look a little bit more like a drawing, and I think I like that. I can't tell exactly how it fits with the top yet because I haven't done the binding on the neckline or the armholes, so I'm not sure about that, but this is what it looks like with the skirt. I think it's fair to say that we're on our way, and then I'm just envisioning it with the stalk, just like that. It'll be thinner. A lot of sewing is basically just holding stuff up against your body and staring at yourself in the mirror. But like in a healthy, I'm doing maths, so I'm trying to work a problem out kind of way, not in a like, I'm staring at myself and why do I look like such a goblin kind of way. And that's another reason I think it's healthy. It forces you to look at yourself, but like analytically rather than critically. And I'm thinking the stem, I want it to look elegant. So I'm thinking maybe the stem is quite short. I want it to look purposeful as well, not just like it's a stripe. So not sure. I want the stem to be thin, I think. I think like an inch stem would be really cool. This could also be cool. I'm not bashing this if anybody else did this, but I think I'm going to go closer to my inspo picture and make it thin, like a tie. And then on the original, they've only got 2 petals, but they have quite a short dress going on, whereas I want a skirt and top combo. So I think we deserve at least 3 petals so it looks intentional, because I think that I want people to get that I'm trying to wear a flower from very far away. I don't want them to be like, why is that black top like got a random green stripe on it? And why is she wearing just a Peter Pan collar? You know what I mean? So I think we have to lean in with this. I'm hoping that the white dots on this won't look weird when it's just a stalk, because on mass it looks really elegant and cool, but if it's in a stalk and you might only just see like 1 or 2 bits, I'm not sure. Do you know what's really annoying? Is that only time will tell. And I hate waiting for time. I want to know now whether it's going to work or not. Let's keep sewing. Being in your 30s means still getting the urge to pull an all-nighter. But when you start pulling an all-nighter and then you do one thing wrong, like I've made this bias binding so lumpy, I'm going to have to unpick it. When you do something wrong and the feeling that first arises is, maybe I don't deserve a sewing machine, or maybe the sewing machine is my enemy and I should kill it, that is the point where you should stop and go to bed. And in your 20s, that last thought isn't part of the equation. But I have found at the ripe age of 36 some kind of pattern recognition. Like, this is the point where I spoil the project because I no longer enjoy indulging my obsession and I do it wrong and fuck the project up. So I will be going to bed. But this isn't the end. This is not the end. This is just a pause on perfection. Okay, whew, a sleep does wonders, doesn't it? Somebody should really tell the general public about sleep. We're sleeping on it. I have successfully unpicked and redone all of the binding for the collar and the sleeves. So now they're nice and flat laying and tidy, which nobody will see but me. But I do want it to last, and I also like the feeling of great satisfaction when I look inside my clothes and I know they're made better than they would be at Zara or somewhere. It's the details for me. And then I've been cutting out my stalks, which I have been measuring by the very scientific and well thought through measurement of as wide as my quilting ruler, which for anyone who's interested is 3.5 inches wide. And then I folded those over and I ironed them into little stalks. So we've got 2 stalks, one to go on the top and one to go on the skirt. And then I also made these little leaves. Now, I was thinking about reinforcing these on the back with interfacing, but I was worried they'd be too stiff. I'd like them to move like they're part of the clothing, you know, I don't want them to be. So I ended up drawing out what my ideal leaf would look like, and then doing a second leaf that was 1 centimetre bigger than that leaf, and then kind of basically using the smaller leaf as my interface so I could fold it over. Does that make any sense? So this is what they look like, and then they're just going to go on the top, 1 on the top and then 2 on the skirt. They are a little bit messy, but I'm going to trust the process and the fact that I'll be able to smooth them out as I sew. And it's now occurring to me that they kind of look like they've got mites on them, don't they? Like somebody's gonna spray rose clear on me, or like bug repellent. It might be fine. Right, I'm gonna get on with attaching these, and then maybe the next time I talk to you, we might be done. You never know. And I can't live without her kiss. She is my Are you ready for the big reveal? I don't think you are. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, I'm so happy. But wait, there is more. But wait, there is more. Are you kidding? But wait, there's actually more. Matching clutch bag, are you serious? With a zip in the back. And I also did threads that look like leaves if you come really close. I'm going to admit with this project, things got a little bit out of hand, but in the funnest way possible. The amount of collar possibilities there are endless, and I just had to let myself make at least 3. But imagine this, but like daffodil shaped, or lily of the valley shaped, or poppy shaped. You could do so much stuff with this neckline. In general, overall, while it definitely took a little bit more brain space to work out how to do everything, every single step was actually very easy when it came to skill level. It just took a little bit more head scratching. I'm really happy with the way the applique turned out. When I was pinning it down and ironing it, I found it really hard to get curved lines. And I was really worried that it was going to turn out really naff. But actually, as I was sewing, I realised I was able to kind of smooth the edges into a curve to make them look a little bit more profesh, a little bit more like leaves. So I'm really happy with the way they turned out. And I think one of the morals of the story of this project for me is that sewing isn't that deep. There's loads of parts of this you could look at and go, that's not perfect. You could never sell that. It's not very professional. It's not very well finished. But bottom line is, I'm having a bloody great time. A much better time than I would have had buying the Lazy Oaf off the rack and getting it delivered to my door. I feel like a much kind of closer relationship with this outfit. And I think I'm also going to have some really fun conversations with people when hopefully they compliment me on the outfit and don't look at me weird, and I go, oh, I made it, and look, I've also got a matching leaf bag, and look at all the different colours I have. It's just going to be so much more fun. And I think as well, like, wearing clothes isn't that deep. You're allowed to make clothes with a little bit of sense of humour that make people laugh. And I think in this world, as we talked about in the last video, the world can get quite heavy sometimes, so why not lighten people's day with a very silly outfit? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you've got any more suggestions for different collars I could make for this amazing 2-piece. Needless to say, silly upcycled projects like this, because all of the material came from stuff I already owned, couldn't happen without the Gumption Club. They are the reason that this channel stays mainly non-commercial, and I get to do all of the silly sustainable projects that come into my wacky little brain. So thank you so much to them, and if you're interested in joining, I'll leave the links below. All that's left to say is Frog Snog out.